Angela here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's time for another sit down Sunday chat. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure you take a look around, look at some vlogs. If you like the vibe, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. That rhymes. I do not try to rhyme. That rhymes, and I cringe every time I say it. But yeah, like literally go like, comment, and subscribe. If you're returning, thank you for clicking on another video. I appreciate it. Today is the day, guys. Today is the day that we're going to talk about dating. Everybody wants me to talk about dating. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk about dating at 40. I have to give this disclaimer right up front. This is not advice. I am not telling you how you should date. I am telling you how I, as a almost 41-year-old woman, I'll be 41 next month, how I approach dating. This approach is very much informed by my experiences. So of course I'll give you sort of like a background of like my dating history, but every way that I show up romantically, or how I show up romantically, is informed by experiences that I've had. So it's not meant to be advice from anyone. I'm just sharing experiences with you, what I learned from those experiences, and how I let that inform how I move forward in dating. And then also like what it is that I'm looking for as a almost 41-year-old woman that is single, isn't married, has never been married. I don't have kids. I don't want to have kids. So what that looks like, right? Dating at this age. So like I said, I'll give you a little backstory on like my dating history, because I think it's important to see where we've been before we talk about where we are and where we hope to go one day. So I'm gonna start at adult age, which is 18, right? Anything before 18, it doesn't really matter in my opinion, right? I mean, 18 is still kind of young, but I feel like my first college boyfriend is like where my significant things that happened to me romantically started. Like though that experience was probably the beginning of like my overall relational experience, romantic relational experience. Anyway, so I was in a relationship. I met my first college boyfriend at the age of 18, and we dated from about 18 to maybe like right before my 21st birthday. And then we broke up. So we were together for a little over 2 years. And then I was single for maybe a year and a half. And then I met my next college boyfriend once I transferred to TSU, Tennessee State, the real TSU. And I always have to throw that in there, you know, because for whatever reason Texas Southern thinks they're TSU, but you know, so that has to be said. But when I transferred to TSU, I met my second college boyfriend. I think I was right at 23. I may have just turned 23. So I was single a little under a couple years, and I had some fun while I was single, you know, dated around, all of that type of stuff. And we dated from about 23 to 27 solidly, and then between like 27 and 28 we were like off and on, and we finally stopped talking like right before my 28th birthday. And pretty soon after that relationship, I met my third, I guess, adult boyfriend, I would say. I met him at work. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. No, it wasn't that bad. We did have a little drama, but that's not what this is about. But I met him at work, and I met him pretty soon after me and my second college boyfriend ended. So I was single maybe less than a year, right? Like after me and my second college boyfriend officially stopped messing around, I met him and started dating him pretty soon after that. And I would say we dated from the time I was maybe like 28 to right at like 30. And then we broke up. And then I pretty soon after that reconnected with my first college boyfriend, right? The one that I was with from 18 to 20, almost 21. We reconnected really shortly after me and the guy I met at work. broke up, and then we dated and sort of moved really quickly, and then I moved to Chicago and it didn't work out, and so we broke up right around like 32. So I, for the most part, was in a relationship from the age of 18 to 32, give or take 3.5 years. And I wouldn't say that either of them were particularly like bad. I mean, obviously they didn't work out because I'm single. I wouldn't say that I had any like traumatic experiences. I often say that I am 40, almost 41, and I haven't experienced a broken heart in the sense of like people that are like, you know, stomach aching, down bad, screaming, crying, like that type of broken, like I haven't had that experience. I have been extremely disappointed and let down in relationships by the people that I was in relationship with and by myself. And so I guess that is sort of a form of heartbreak. But like when I think about some of the things that some of my friends have gone through with like cheating and, you know, mistreatment and, you know, when people go through like abuse and stuff like that, I've never experienced anything like that. If somebody cheated on me, I do know one time. Again, this is not what that is about. This is not, maybe one time we'll talk about, maybe I'll do a video one time about like crazy things that happened in some of my relationships. Today is not the day. But other than that one time, like if I was being cheated on, I didn't know. I was treated pretty well in all of those relationships. With the exception of this last one. And again, we're not going to go into like detail, but I will say my first college boyfriend, who was also the last guy that I was in a relationship with because I did this block thing, right? We broke up the first time because we were 18, 19, 20. We were 18, 19, 20, right? That's why we broke up. Like, it just was what it was. The second time around, this last time, we'll get to that, right? So he and I broke up. We were kids. Like, we were both just all over the place. My second college boyfriend, which was more of an adult relationship, because like I said, I met him right as I was maybe turning 23, right? So I wasn't grown, but I was like older. And we were together from 23 to almost like 28. Like I said, that last year was kind of off and on. And the reason that we broke up is because ultimately we wanted to start our adult life very differently. I wanted to be in one place, he wanted to be in another place, right? And you know, it didn't work out because I wasn't willing to go where I didn't want to be, and I also didn't want to hold him back from going where he wanted to be. So like, we were at a crossroads, and I just was like, let's not do this, right? Because if I come to where I don't want to be, I'm gonna hate you. I'm the type of person where if I'm unhappy, I cannot hide it, right? And I don't want to do that to you because we've had a great, you know, 4 years together, 4 or 5 years together. And I don't want to do something against my will or you do something against your will and then we end up hating each other. We still have a really good relationship to this day. And when I say relationship, I mean very like platonically, like platonic. We still have mutual friends and stuff, but he's married, he has children. So it's not a good relationship like that. I'm not sitting up on the phone with him, but we have a really good relationship. We didn't end on terrible terms. He was not happy because I was the one that ended the relationship, but you know, eventually we got over it. And then the boyfriend that I met after him, it was one of those situations where that was probably, I still think that was the one that I probably was the most just upset by, because he was, I wouldn't say a lot older than me. I was 28 when we met. I think he was 35 when we met. I was 28, he was 35. And we met at work. Like we were doing the same thing. Like it wasn't like I was making a significant amount, you know, a significant amount. Is that what I'm trying to say? What am I trying to say? It wasn't like I was making significantly more money than him. We were pretty much doing the same thing. By the time I ended up leaving Verizon, we were on the same team. Like we literally were on the same team. I guess I shouldn't have said the name because people might know what relationship I'm talking about, but whatever. But it was one of those things where I was more educated, right? I, at that time, had finished my master's degree, and I was looking for my first like corporate role while we were dating. And he was in a career transition. Him coming to the job that we were at was a part of that. He had given up, you know, made a lot of sacrifices career-wise to get to where, you know, he was trying to go, and whatever the case may be. But what it ended up being is that thing where men are like, oh, I just don't think that I'm, you know, I have what it takes to be with you right now. It was one of those things. Unfortunately for me, he did not communicate that. He just got ghosted. Like, I'm not even kidding, right? And again, this is not what that's about. Maybe I'll do a story time about my individual breakups. But we were together for 2 years, and almost 2 years, yeah. And then one day he woke up and decided he'd never talk to me again. Like, stop answering my calls, stop answering my, like, I never talked to him again until 2 years later. I was living in Chicago with my now ex-boyfriend, and he randomly gave me a call. Like, basically, I got my shit together, what are you doing? Like, on some random shit. On some random shit like that. I'm like, bro, I live in Chicago now. I'm with a whole other man. Like, why are you calling me? That's a whole other story. Again, we'll talk about that in detail. And then this last relationship, which was the first relationship, it just didn't work out, right? It was just one of those things where I personally was at a point in my life where I'm like, damn, like, I'm 30. At that point I was 30, right? And I was like, I'm 30, you know, I've gotten the education. At that point I had, you know, gotten into the career field that I wanted to work in, and I'm like, the puzzle is almost complete. I just need a husband and some kids, and I will be like that success story. I will be the girl that made it out of the hood. I got the degrees, I got the job, I got the husband, I got the babies, and I just needed to like finish that trifecta. And I felt like I was so close with the last two relationships, and it didn't pan out, right? And so I think a little bit of why I reconnected with him, and reconnected so fast, even though I sort of had reservations about it, because it had been 10 years since we had talked to each other, and I had grown in so many ways, and I didn't see the same growth reflected in him. Like, even in just like the conversations that we had, I didn't feel like I was talking to a 30-year-old man. Having come from dating someone that was in his mid to late 30s by the time we got done dating, my gut was telling me that he wasn't like it, like this wasn't it, but I didn't care because I was on a timeline, and I needed to get to where I felt like I needed to be to like finish that trifecta by, you know, a certain age. So with that, we reconnected. We moved pretty fast. I moved to Chicago, and we were together for maybe 10 months. I moved to Chicago and I moved in with him. And it was just one of those things where, like I said, it had been 10 years. It's like we didn't even like attempt to get to know who each other was now as like 30-year-olds as opposed to 20-year-olds the last time that we dated. I feel like we did a lot of resting on the connection that we had before, and didn't spend enough time getting to know each other. Even if I did move here so that we weren't long distance, maybe we should have lived separately for a year or two. I don't know, but I knew it wasn't right before I got here, and immediately when I got here I knew that it wasn't right. And so that ended up lasting, and a whole bunch of stuff happened in the middle of that. He just wasn't a nice person. I just don't think that he liked me. I think that he likes the idea of me. I think that he was, you know, holding on to that like fairy tale just like I was. Like, you know, I was like, oh, think of the story that you could tell your kids, like, this was my first college love, and we you know, lost touch or reconnected after a decade, and we got married and we had y'all, and was so happy. And so I think both of us were like holding on to the idea of what our love story could have been, and not necessarily what it was. Is that we were two totally different people. We didn't like each other. And so, you know, it reflected in the way that we treated each other. I won't put it all on him. I'll take responsibility for the fact that, you know, as soon as I feel like I said, when I'm unhappy, I can't hide it, right? And so it comes out in the way that I behave, which is why I try not to keep myself in situations where I'm uncomfortable or I'm not happy, where it's not adding value to me or anything like that. And that goes for any type of situation: jobs, friendships, romantic relationships. So that ended, right? And that was 2016. So I have been single, right, since 2016, meaning I have not been in a relationship since 2016. I haven't been in any like serious like I haven't dated anyone seriously or like had any like close calls to relationships. It just hasn't, right? And I think it's for a number of reasons. One, I just haven't really been trying, if I'm being quite honest, right? People are always like, how is dating in Chicago? I'm like, girl, I don't know, because I quite literally have not tried, right? And so I try not to be like, dating in Chicago is terrible. Girl, I wouldn't know, because I ain't gave these men a time of day, okay? I think in the last 8 years, yeah. And the last, is it 8 years? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Oh, shit. 9 years. 9 years. It'll be 9 years in May. Wow. In the last 9 years, I have dated, and we're talking like on varying levels of dating, 4 men. I had just a like cut buddy. I don't know what the kids call them these days, but I had like a sneaky link. I had like a sneaky link for like a couple years. I should say, after my last breakup, so at 32, when I broke up with him, I made a concerted effort to not date for a couple years. So from like 32 to 34, I just wasn't dating, right? It wasn't because I wasn't meeting anyone. I just really wanted to take the time, right, to figure out what I wanted. First of all, how I had gotten to the point that I got. Like, I knew before I gave up my job, gave up a promotion, gave up the life that I had in Nashville to move to Chicago to be with this man, I knew that it wasn't right. Like, my gut was telling me, my head was telling me, hell, my heart was telling me. I just was not listening to anything. So I really needed to sit with myself and, you know what I'm saying, really just, you know, do some hard self-reflection and come to terms with some hard truths about myself, because I really needed to understand how I got to this place, how I allowed myself to get to this place. So I really spent the last 2 years after that relationship doing what I call the work. And the work is really just being like, what do you want? You know how Noah is in the Notebook, when he was like, what do you want? What do you want? That's me, right? Because deep down inside, I knew, like, I've known for a long time. Like, I've never been the type of girl that dreamed about a marriage and kids, like a traditional lifestyle. I've always just wanted to be free, and I didn't have the language for what that meant then. I just knew that I wanted to be out of the environment that I grew up in, and I just wanted to live a free life. Like, I didn't want to be beholden to anything, and I didn't really, you know, have the language, like I said, for what that meant. But the idea of wanting a traditional family and wanting, you know, to be cooking and cleaning and doing the mopping and having the kids and barefoot and pregnant, it always felt so unnatural to me, right? But again, like I said, it felt like that's what I had to do in order to complete that like pyramid of the perception of like truly making it and being successful. I did not think that people would still say she made it. You know, she put her mind to it and she made it. If I had just gone to college, got the degrees, got the good job, right? And I didn't have the husband and I didn't have the kids, I didn't think that people would be like, I knew she was going to make it, right? I was afraid of people being like, she got them degrees and she got that job, but she ain't got no man, she ain't got no kids, right? Like everything else that I accomplished would have been moot because I didn't have children and, you know, a husband. And so, and it's not even that I don't want to have a husband, and we'll get there, right? But or a family, but it doesn't have to look traditional in that way, right? But I was like kind of trying to force myself in that box, and it always felt unnatural. And I like to think that's why it didn't work out in those other situations, because it's just not, that's not my story. So I really took those 2 years to think about what do you really want, right? Not in a man, right? Not in a man, right? Yes, in a man. Like, what are your standards and, you know, expectations and all of this type of stuff, but mainly, how do you want to exist in this world individually? And then how does that translate to how you exist in a relationship with someone else, in how you do life with someone else? What is going to make Angela fulfilled? What is going to make Angela happy? You know, what does Angela want to accomplish? And then how, like I said, how does all of that translate into a relationship? And what type of person will you need to be in a relationship to continue to be, you know, who you are in that relationship? And it took me a while. It took me a while to like really come to the terms with the fact that I don't want children. I don't want to birth children. I'm not opposed to parenting, right? If I were to meet someone that has children, preferably not no kids under 10, preferably double digits in age, right? You know, I'm not opposed to being a step parent. I'm not opposed to, you know, I have nieces and nephews. God forbid, you never know what happened. If I need to stand in the gap for my nieces and nephews, my siblings, whatever the case may be, then, you know, I can do that. So there are still chances in this life that I will parent, but I don't want to birth children, right? And I had to get to like come to terms with the fact that I am okay with that, and that may be a deterrent, right? That may affect how I date and like who wants to date me. I also really sat down and defined like what a happy, healthy relationship feels like how do I feel in this relationship? What does it feel like? Some other things that I thought about was, you know, things like marriage. Like, is that a deal breaker for me? Because, you know, for a long time it was like you had to want to be married and have kids at the same time that I wanted to. Like, you had to want exactly what I wanted, or like we couldn't date because you weren't dating intentionally. Like, you know what I'm saying? That dating with intention thing, like, it had us in a chokehold back in the early 2000s when we were in college. And you know, I really had to sit down and think about, is that really a deal breaker for you? Like, is marriage, like, you know, is marriage a requirement? Is it a necessity? And then landing on, you know, I would love to be married, but it's not a deal breaker for me, if that makes sense. Like, my ultimate goal is to do life with someone, to have a happy, healthy, long-term relationship with someone, in whatever form that looks like. Obviously a monogamous relationship, and like I said, I would absolutely love for that to come with marriage, but also like I wouldn't give up a happy, healthy relationship where I am loved, valued, cherished, taken care of, because, you know, I'm not married. And that's just me. Again, I'm not telling you not to get married, right? If marriage is a huge part of your standards and your values, please, by all means, you should be dating with that intention in mind. But for me, it's just it's honestly not. It's honestly not. Like I said, nice to have. So if you ever see me popped up married, don't be like, you said you didn't want to get married. That's not what I said. I said if I was in a happy, healthy, fulfilling monogamous relationship and we never got married, I wouldn't bat an eye. Like, I wouldn't bat an eye. And there was lots of little other just kind of like lifestyle things that I really sat down and like nailed down how I wanted to show up in those ways in my life. And like I said, I did that for like 2 years. And then I think right after that I started, like, I just had like a back to the what I said kids call it, the sneaky link. I literally had somebody that I would like, we would just sleep together. That's really what it was. He was a really nice guy. And here's the thing, I tell people all the time, I am a casual dater at heart. And I guess I should say this first. I am very much a casual dater, right? And so I have been single for 9 years. I have not always been motionless, meaning I have not had sex in 9 years. I have not been taken care of, been on dates, you know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I have not been in a committed relationship in 9 years, but what I have done has been very minimal, and it's been pretty much casual, right? It hasn't been anything serious, or serious. So I had the sneaky link cut buddy is what we called it back in my day. So I had the cut buddy. We were, you know, we messed around for a couple years. And I think it's also important to note, for me in dating, I have the same standards across the board, right? I just don't date with any real expectations, if that makes sense, right? So I go into dating with the same standards. I have to be attracted to you. You have to be intelligent. You know, you have to, you know, have the same values as me, political, social, like all that type of stuff. Even though I'm just having sex with this man, we do have conversations, right? I do know the people that I'm having sex with. So we do have to be aligned on standards and values no matter how we're interacting. I just don't have any like expectations. Like, if you don't call me every day, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Even though this particular person called me every day, right, brought me food every day, you know, he was one of those guys where he would be like, I got you something, come down and get it. And it would be like some food, or, you know, something that he know I like, or something like that. So even though the situation is casual, I don't fool around with men that I can't call if I need them, right? So even though he and I were just having sex for the 2 years that we were just having sex, if I ever call his phone, I can call his phone and say, I need 1,000 bands right now. 1,000 bands? That ain't how they go. I need $1,000 right now. He would bring me $1,000 right now. If I call him and said, I need you, he would come to me, right? And so that's what I mean by like standards. Like, I'm not dating no man that I don't care. I don't care what the circumstances is that we're interacting. I'm not fooling with no man that, you know, I can't ask for help. And I guess that's sort of an expectation, but I put that under the standard category because it's just like the caliber of guys that I date. Like, I don't mess with no like, I just don't mess with little boys. Like, you know, I typically date men that are men. And so, like, it's never up for debate, you know, that a man would be there for me when I need them, right? So yes, I guess you could technically say that's an expectation, but for me it's a standard, and I have literally never had an issue. So I had that guy, and then we stopped talking, and then I dated a guy. The one and only time I've ever been on a dating app, I took it back from my friends, and I had to go on dating apps because I had never done it before, and I've never been on there again. I'm very anti-dating apps just because I don't feel like I have the personality for them. But the bet was I had to do 15 dates before I could get off the app, or 15 dates in the summer. I can't remember the actual, I knew I had to go on 15 dates. I ended up meeting this one guy, and I was like, I'm just gonna go on 15 dates with him. Like, I literally was trying to like manipulate the bet or whatever. My friends was like, that's not how it's supposed to go. But like, literally, right hand to the man, right hand to the man. I was on Hinge like swiping one day, and they were like, it literally bounced back and was like, there are no more swipes. Like, I had literally swiped through all the fucking men in Chicago, and it was like, we gotta find some more men. So it was then that I was like, oh, you know, online dating isn't for me, because I'm a visual person. I don't care what you saying in the words, baby. If I don't like what if I don't like what I see, I'm gonna swipe. But I did, right, that one time was like, oh, this guy isn't really my type, but I don't like to lose, so let me go ahead and swipe on him. And he actually ended up being a really, really nice guy. Like I said, I wasn't physically attracted to him, but everything else, like, he was funny, he was successful, he was smart. Like I said, he was a gentleman, you know what I'm saying? He took care of me. We went on we went out, we had a good time, we had a lot in common. And so we ended up dating for like 5 months. Like 5 months. We were like, you know, messing around, going on dates, whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, I wasn't attracted to him, and I don't give a damn. I don't care. Like, it just is what it is. I can't be with somebody that I'm not physically attracted to. Like I said, I'm very visual, and I'm also very sexual. And I didn't even want to really be touched or kissed. Like, if he was like not close to me, I was enjoying myself. As soon as he got too close to me, I'm like, oh my God. But I had gotten to a point right around like almost month 6 where I was like, you know what? Let me just see. Let me just let go of all of my like you know, let me just let it go and see how this goes, because I do really like this guy. Y'all, I had tried to, like, you know how people be like, you can buy clothes, you can change style. You cannot, like, literally we had went shopping, you know, tried to like switch up his style a little bit, and it's just like putting lipstick on a pig. Like, the clothes were there, he just didn't have the swagger, he couldn't carry it. I don't care. People are always like, oh, you could buy the clothes, because I'm very into like personal style too, which we'll get to like the things that I'm really attracted to before the end of this video. But people are always like, oh, you can, you know, buy clothes, and I'm just like, actually you can't. Actually you can't. You know, I've tried it, I've been there, it doesn't work. He just didn't have the natural swagger to pull off the style. So, like, you know what I'm saying, personal style isn't just like the clothes you put on your body, it's also how you carry them, and he just didn't have what it takes. Anyway, I really tried, I really tried, and the last time I spent the night with him was like the last time, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna spend the weekend with him, and we're just going to see, you know, wake up on Saturday morning, you know, we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna try, see, we're gonna meld our routines together. We're gonna wake up in the morning, we're gonna make coffee, we're going to go to the gym, we're going to work out, like, let's just see like how our lives like mix together, right? Because we had never done that before. We had, like, you know, fooled around, and then he went home or I went home, or like I might have come over in during the weeknight and then went home, or he came over the weeknight and went home, but we had never like spent a weekend together. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. So I go, I pack my little things, I'm like, I'm gonna spend the whole weekend with him, and this will let me know. Y'all, I didn't make it past Saturday morning. I won't go into details, but the girls who know, like the girls who be on my lives where I get active, they know what, my hair looks crazy. That's why I keep touching it, y'all. The girls that know, but I just seen him in a different light that day, and I was like, I'm not attracted to him. I can't do it. I got up that morning and I saw him in the light of a Saturday. I don't know how to explain it, but as soon as I saw him that Saturday morning, I was like, he's never seen me again. Like, he's never seen me again. Like, this is, I'm like, this ain't it. And I literally never talked to him again. That was not that was terrible of me, because I didn't give him like a real explanation. We maybe talked a little bit after, like a couple after, but I just became like really unavailable and like standoffish, and eventually he got the picture and like stopped trying. But it just was like, I realized like I could never be with him. I'm not attracted, like this is not gonna work. So that was that situation. I met someone right before COVID. I really liked him, but ultimately it was never gonna be me. It was never gonna be me. It is what it is. We dated, you know, I was dating him, I was dating other people, he was dating me, he was obviously dating other people, and then he ended up in a relationship, so he chose who he wanted to be with. I did really like him though, I won't front. Like, I really liked him, and you know, he is 100% my type, right? And the like was mutual. Like, like I said, he fell in, you know, the same category of, you know, he respected me, he took care of me, we went out, he, you know, all of the things or whatever. It wasn't me, right? Which we'll also get to in this conversation. And then now I am casually dating someone that lives in Jersey. I met him almost 3 years ago now. I was in New York, and I was like at a rooftop having a drink, and I met him there, and you know, that was a wild situation. You know, I was on one. I met him, left that rooftop with him, and we've been talking ever since. That was a wild situation, right? And so that's literally all of the dating that I've done over the last 9 years. So very casual. Like I said, all very much aligned with my standards. I never had to ask nobody to take me out. I ain't never had to worry about nobody, you know, not treating me right or playing in my face, or none of these crazy experiences that these story times that y'all be telling. I'm like, I don't know where y'all be meeting these men, or you know, what type of like standards, or I don't know what's going on. But like, I don't have these problems that I see people having in dating. online, and you know, it could be because I'm very particular. I mean, 4 guys in 9 years, you could already tell that I'm very particular. I don't have to date, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to be dating anyone. It's not one of those things where it's like, I don't need a man. I absolutely want to be in a relationship, but I don't want to be in a relationship so bad where I will just endure anything, right? My last relationship was the last time that I forced something because I want to be in a relationship, right? I have been desperate, and baby, you ain't got to worry about me. You do not. That was the first and the last time that I touched a hot stove twice. So with all of that being said, where are we now? I'm not dating anybody seriously. Like I said, I have my I call her my lover. I have my lover in Jersey. I probably go see him once a quarter. Like, at this point, we see each other like quarterly. You know, we maybe text if not every day, you know, at least he'll send me like a good morning text. We'll talk in the morning. Maybe every other day or something like that. Again, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't have any expectations for the situation. It's very casual. But when I'm with him, you know, all eyes on me. That's all I care about. I am open to dating, right? I'm not closed off in any way. I don't meet men that I am interested in, right? And that's different between not meeting men, because, you know, not to toot my own horn, toot BB. If I leave this house 5 times, 3 times somebody is going to try to talk to me. I literally was at a funeral. I was at a funeral Thursday, and somebody tried to talk to me at the fucking repast, right? But I wouldn't, like, he's not, like, I can look at him and tell you he's not my type, honey. So I just haven't met anybody that I'm like really attracted to. Even if I'm physically attracted to him, it's just, you know, it's just something, right? It's energy. It's just something, right? Because I've been approached by men that I find physically attractive, and then, you know, talk to him long enough and I'm like, actually, I'm never answering your phone call. So I am open to dating, but like I said, I'm not, you know, I'm not just dating anybody. I have to like you. I have to be attracted to you at this point. Younger Angela, baby, you know, I was outside. I didn't care who it was. Take me to dinner. Now, it has to be someone that I am attracted to on like all levels, and it doesn't matter if I intend on just dating you casually or whatever it is. I can't spend my time with somebody that I'm not attracted to physically, intellectually, like all the things. I'm also very much I wouldn't call myself a slow burn person, but I am not a person that I don't have a strict rule around like time as it relates to dating. So even if I met someone that I really liked now, I wouldn't be like hard pressed to move any faster than like the situation naturally moves, right? So like, let's say I met somebody, we really liked each other. One, you know, my typical rule is I don't like, you know how people will meet someone and then they are like, we met on Wednesday and we're on a date on Friday. No, I'm the type of person where I need to have some conversation. I need to know I like you before I actually go on a date with you. So take my number, give me a call, not a text message, give me a call. Let's have some conversations, maybe 2, maybe 3. And once I get a feel for you, figure out if I like you, then I'll go out with you or whatever. So let's say I meet somebody, you know, we have a few long feet up on the wall conversations, and then we go out on a date, and then we go on a second date and third date and fourth date. You know, let's say we are dating pretty casually for a month. If that man came to me after 30 days and was like, I want you to be my girlfriend, and I could really like him back, right, and really see a future with him, I'm going to tell him, hold up, wait a minute. For me, there is this really important in between that I don't think a lot of people like, because they feel like it's a waste of time. And I think people have this weird fear of, if they don't immediately lock someone into something, then they're going to lose that person to someone else. And I mean, if that happens, then that wasn't your person in the first place. If you're meant to be in a relationship with someone, you'll be in a relationship in 3 months, I mean in 3 weeks, or 3 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they end up with somebody else, they were supposed to end up with that someone else. So there's this in between meeting someone and, you know, getting in a committed relationship, that like the exclusively dating area that a lot of people don't do. And I think that allows more time to get to know each other before you decide to be in a committed relationship. Because I feel like once you're in that committed relationship, then you really start opening up your life, your routine, your goals, your family, your friends, and sharing it with this other person, right? And there's still like this time frame where I feel like you're in the honeymoon phase, right? You have these rose colored glasses, and there needs to be this time for me that I spend getting to know this person exclusively. Because I ain't gonna hold you, if I meet you today, I'm probably talking to somebody else today. I got a lover in Jersey, right? And so I'm splitting my attention between you and somebody else. In that exclusive time, right, if we're like, we're going to exclusively date, like if a man came to me and was like, I want you to be my girlfriend, and I'm like, hold up, you know, let's feel this out a little bit more, but I do really like you, and I don't want you talking to other people, and I won't talk to other people. So there's this like exclusively dating like situation here where we can let's just park it right here and get to know each other a little bit more. I won't talk to nobody else, you don't talk to nobody else, but we don't necessarily say we're in a relationship. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a slow burn, but I am really particular about making, you know, giving myself time to make sure, right? To make sure that I am not signing up and committing to being in a relationship with somebody's representative who they are, you know, showing up as because they think that that's who they need to show up as to get from me what they want to get from me, and that they are really showing up as who they are. So some would call that a slow burn person. I wouldn't necessarily call it a slow burn. Like, you know, I am very like particular about the getting to know you phase, which I don't think people do enough of. And coming off of a situation, even though I had dated my ex before, where I didn't give that getting to know you phase enough time, I'm just not gonna do it again. I'm just not going to do it again, right? And that isn't me operating out of some sort of fear. That is me letting an experience that I had inform the decisions that I make. And like I said, if a man can't wait another 30 days to really get to know me, then he move on to somebody else, that wasn't my man to begin with. No sweat off my back. So that's like my thought process and my philosophy on dating. I do want to be in a relationship. I just haven't met anybody, right? I'm not open to online dating. Don't ask. It's never happening. Now, if somebody slid in my DMs, which technically would be online dating, if somebody slid in my DMs with the right approach, that may be a little different. But like actively going on dating apps and dating somebody, that wouldn't happen. And then lastly, I have just like a very like optimistic but realistic approach to dating. I am not of the mind that there ain't piss in my dating pool. Like, you know how people like dating is terrible, there's piss in the, it ain't piss in my dating pool. It's not piss in my dating pool. The people that I have dated, in whatever capacity that we were dating, they were exactly what I was looking for. Smart, funny, educated, giving, complimentary, kind, all of the things. I just haven't done a lot of dating, but like my dating pool hasn't been pissy. I still think that there are plenty of great men out there. I don't have like this like disdain for dating, like, oh, you know, men are terrible. I don't. I think there are great men out there. I am surrounded by people that are in happy, healthy, loving relationships. All of my friends are my age, maybe a couple years younger. They are still getting in relationships. And so like, I'm not cynical about dating at all, right? I know that when the time is right, when, you know, I feel like meeting your person is mostly luck and timing in place. So when it happens, it'll happen. And I'm very optimistic and open about the fact that it will happen. I'm also very realistic. The reason that I say I am realistic is that I had to, you know, come to terms, and I have to often remind myself that I am not entitled to anything, especially another person. So if I meet someone that I like, for instance, I told y'all about the guy that I was dating that I really liked, and it wasn't me. Like, he ended up in a relationship with someone else, and my ego because I'm human, right? So even though I know that I'm not entitled to someone just because I'm smart, funny, successful, beautiful, you know, fly, all of the things, it doesn't mean that I'm entitled to someone because I feel like because I do possess all of these things. The other people in the situations that we are in also have choice. And so in that situation, my ego did get the best of me, where I was like, nigga, what the do you not see this coat? Like this, me, the coat, I'm the coat, or whatever. But I often have to remind myself, and I tell young women all the time, even though I said this isn't advice, I tell young women all the time, you're not entitled to anyone. You're not entitled to anyone. I was having a conversation, and then we'll wrap this up because I feel like this is a long ass video. I was having a conversation on TikTok where we were essentially talking about that, and I was talking about the idea of people slowing down, right, and giving the getting to know you portion of dating a little more time. You know, like I said, I feel like people, you know, are in a rush, like they rush things because they're worried that they're going to like lose a person, like they're going to miss out on a person, they're going to go to somebody else. They weren't yours to begin with then, if that's the case. So then we got to talking about like caveats on that. People were like, well, men like, you know, because women be like, men like to waste your time, or they, you know, they like to front like they want the same thing that you want and then they don't. And like in my mind, that's where time is on your side. If you take your time, if you meet someone and they're telling you everything that you want to hear, in my mind, that doesn't mean immediately jump into something serious. To me, I would think you would want to take time to make sure that is actual factual and that's not you being love bombed. But like, I realize that other people's minds don't work that way. Like, I'm like, that shit sounds too good to be true. Let me give it some time, because that shit eventually comes out in the wash. And I'd rather it comes out in the wash in that like middle section, right? From like casual dating to exclusive dating. Like, I'd rather it come out in the wash right here than it end up coming out in the wash because in the relationship part. I had already started telling my people about you, introducing you to my people, planning vacations with you, you know, changing my routine for you, and then it come out in the wash right here. But we also started talking about, I gave the example of like, you can meet somebody and they can actually be looking for the same thing that you're looking for, right? They cannot be lying about that. They could just get to know you and decide that you're not their person. So it's not always people like playing you or playing with you, or, you know, playing with your time or anything like that. People can get to know you and decide, she's lovely, she's beautiful, she's smart, she's intelligent, she's all that, she's just not for me. I've done it before. I'm sure you've done it before. And, you know, it could also be that. So like I said, I have a very optimistic outlook on dating as well. Like, I'm not the type of person where I'm like, men ain't shit, they don't do nothing but waste your time. No, I'm just the type of person where I'm like, okay, if it didn't work out, then that's just not my person and I'm not his person, and, you know, you move the hell on. It just is what it is. So anyway, kids, I've said a whole lot. Hopefully it was coherent and succinct enough that you get a better idea of like my approach to dating at 40. You know, I am very much looking forward to being in a committed and, you know, happy, healthy, long relationship with someone. I cannot wait to do life with somebody. I'm also, you know, in the meantime, in between time, go have fun. I'm not, let me tell you something, at 40, 41, I'm not sitting around waiting nobody. Like, I'm gonna hop on a plane, go see my lover. I'm gonna go on some dates. I'm gonna have some fun. You know, I'm gonna date casually. It is what it is. I also have a good handle on my emotions. I am fairly emotionally intelligent and all of that. I will say, if you're not a person that is, if you don't have a good grasp on your emotions, like, maybe don't maybe don't do what auntie do. But as far as auntie, like, you know, I'm out here having fun. I'm out here having a lot of fun. What Tracy Ellis Ross say in that interview? I think she was talking to Kevin Hart. She was joking, but when she was like, I got a wheel of lovers, like, you know, that's the stage I'm in. And when I meet someone, all of that will stop, because she ain't no cheater. I ain't no player no more. The girls that get it. The girls that know Angela's lore, they know it's Angela's lore. But I'm very much a one-woman man when I have a man. But right now I don't have no man. So, you know, I might have a few of them. I had somebody, they're like, I'm just so afraid of, like, you know, disease and stuff. Let me tell you something. I don't give a damn if you're married. Ain't nobody responsible for your sexual health and your reproductive health but you. I don't want to have children, so I'm not on birth control now. The person that I happen to be dating doesn't want to have children, and he took the necessary steps to make sure that he doesn't have children, right? Or anymore, because he has one but he doesn't want any more. So he made sure of it, if you get my drift, right? Nevertheless, I am in control of my own sexual health. So even though I am 41 and I thought I'd never get on birth control again, the way our government is going right now, please, I have an appointment in April. I am getting back on birth control. I go and get STD testing. I have my own protection. I go get STD testing every 6 months. If I get popped, I know who I got. I know I'm not the one that did the popping. I know I got popped. I carry my own protection with me. Baby, you can't never hit me with the, oh, I ain't got no, oh, don't worry, I got one. You can ask my best friend, because I made her start buying them and having them with her. Girl, have them with you. You are in charge of your sexual and reproductive health. Can't nobody do nothing to you that you do not allow them to do. You need to make sure that you are taking the proper precautions to make sure that you are safe. That goes for women in relationships and married too. So I say all of that to say, don't worry about auntie, but also please protect yourself. Like, please protect yourself. Please protect yourself, baby. Listen, I've been in the game a long time. She done a lot of things. Being popped ain't one of them. That's what me and my friend call, like, STDs and stuff in college. Pitted and popped. We used to call it pitted up or like popped. You ain't gotta worry about me. Okay, you ain't gotta worry about auntie. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I feel like I didn't talk forever. I could go more into depth on certain areas. I feel like I just briefly touched on things. So if there are things that I said that you want me to elaborate and expound on, let me know in the comments, and we can maybe do another video kind of expounding on some of the things that I said in the video. So this is editing Angela here. It's literally the same day. Like, literally, I got done filming the video and then I threw on pajamas and a robe and sat on my couch to export the footage, and I realized that I didn't even talk about the most important thing. What am I attracted to? Like, what am I attracted to? Girl, how do you make a video about dating and you don't talk about what you're attracted to? Okay, are y'all ready? So I am attracted to black men only. Okay, so I'm not attracted to black men only. I think all men are gorgeous. All gorgeous men are gorgeous, because there's some ugly men. I mean, let's keep it real, right? But I am only interested in dating and being in relationship with black men for a plethora of reasons that I don't think that matters. Just know that I want to be with a black man. I'm also attracted to men that are my age or older. I'm not into younger guys. My age range is anything between, you know, 40 to maybe 50, 51 at this point. Would I date younger? Probably nothing less than 38. And here's my thing with like dating younger guys. I don't want children, and a lot of younger men still, you know, want children, and I just find it easier to date men my age or older because they usually have already had all the kids that they want to have. I mean, you do meet men my age that don't have kids, or maybe have, you know, a kid and would probably want another kid, but it's less likely, right? It's more likely that I would run into a younger man that still wants kids, and I can't give you that. So, you know, as soon as I meet a man that, you know, expresses interest in having children, I'm like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna waste your time, And I'm not gonna waste your time. That leads me into the next thing. Like, right, I would preferably like to date someone that is not interested in having children or having more children. Like, I think it's really important that I have that in common with the person that I am dating. Again, I'm not opposed to parenting or mothering in another way. So I'm not opposed to dating men with children. However, I am not really interested in dating a man with really small children. I like to say like 10, but anything under like 7 or 8. I would like a tall man, right? But that's not a deal breaker. Now, I don't want no Kevin Hart, but like if a man is my height or taller, then I'm fine with that. As long as you are comfortable with the fact that when I put on heels, baby, I shoots up. So I'm not one of those people like he has to be 6'4". 6'4" is nice, but I mean, I'm 5'8". So if you're 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", you're taller than me flat foot. Most of the time I got on sneakers anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. Shorter than me though, you better have Kevin Hart money. I wouldn't necessarily call this a preference, but if I had to like say what is most attractive, like what's the most attractive like male archetype to me, it would be basketball build, but not like super tall like Kevin Durant. I don't like that. Maybe like Steph Curry, again, just a few inches taller than me, not too much. I don't want a big tall gangly man. Rajon Rondo, like a smaller, like more petite frame, but like, you know, still toned and muscular. Who else? Like a Chris Paul, like just like, you know, like I said, a few inches taller than me. Like when I'm thinking about like basketball, you know, when I'm thinking about like basketball players, I love a dark skinned man. I love a man that is like maybe like my complexion and darker. That doesn't mean I won't talk to a light skinned man. I will talk to a light skinned man, right? That's how you do a preference. I find darker skin, like if you, like I said, if you were to ask me the archetype of a man that I find most attractive, I'm likely going to say someone that's on the darker end. I'm not calling myself dark skin. Before y'all get in them comments and be like, you don't know dark skin, but someone that's like on the darker end of the spectrum. But would I talk to a light bright? Yes. If I'm attracted to him. And that's on preference, but not like discrimination or, you know, whatever. Smart. I love a man that has something that they know so much about, that they're so enthusiastic about, that they're constantly learning about, that they can talk to you for hours about. And that's one of my, when I first meet you, questions. Like, what's something that you could talk, like if you had to talk to me right now for an hour about something, what is that one thing? So I love a smart man. I love a learned man, like a man that is, you know, constantly, it doesn't have to be, you know, related to their job. It could just be something that they're really interested in. I love a great conversationalist. I love a man that can tell a good story. I don't care if you're talking about stories from your like childhood, or like you recapping something that happened from boys' night and you like telling me about it, or you telling me about a day at work. Like I need it to be interesting. I need it to be, because y'all know I could tell a good story. So I need a man that could tell a good story too, right? I need somebody that's gonna have me locked in. I love a good conversationalist. I love a good storyteller. I love a funny man. Oh my God. I love to laugh so bad. And I don't like no goofy man. It's a different. I don't want no Drewski. That's goofy shit. I like a kind man. Not just kind to me because you like me. Kind to everybody. Kind, just a kind person. Thoughtful. I love a man that keeps my wants and needs and desires like in mind as he like moves through the day. One of my favorite things is just like a man coming home and being like, oh, look what I got you today. I got you, you know, I love olives, you know, I love popcorn, you know, I love, you know, sparkling water, like little sparkling waters, you know, I like little like cutesy magazines and stuff like that. Just like randomly bringing me stuff, just like really thoughtful and always thinking of me and always doing like little things. It doesn't have to be like physical things. It could just be making a decision, you know what I'm saying, with me in mind before making the decision. Like, I love a thoughtful man. I love a spiritual man, right? That should have been verse, right? I love a spiritual man. Now, I don't necessarily go to church every Sunday, so you don't have to be like a super churchy brother, but I love a man that loves God. It ain't nothing sexier than a man grabbing your hand in prayer. Like, you know what I'm saying? A man that pray with you and pray for you. I love a cultured man, a man that loves the arts and theater and, you know, music. Somebody that I can actually experience that with, because that is where my interests lie. That's where I like to spend, you know, my free time. That's what I call fun. And so I would love to have that shared interest with a man. I love a fly man. I love a man with a great sense of style. It doesn't necessarily have to be a particular style, just a great sense of style. And he can really own the things that he wear, right? Swagger. I like a man with a little bit of arrogance. I like a man that commands the room. I like a man that knows who the fuck he is. And when he walks in the room, he don't have to say a word and everybody else knows who the fuck he is. I love a man with some bravado. I could go on and on and on, but I wanted to give y'all some like details on the type of man I love, because I think that that's important, or the type of man that I am looking for and I aspire to do life with. Smart, funny, educated, successful, got some coin, got a little body on him. You know what I'm saying? Monkey flying fresh. Anyway, the battery is about to die now because I've been talking forever, but I wanted to add that little piece. Yeah, girl, we just out here 40, fly, fine, and loving it. We're having a good time. But I do want somebody's son to be cooking for me and stuff. Oh, y'all thought I was gonna say I want to be cooking for somebody's son? No. Listen, the last few men that I've dated, baby, I ain't cooking a thing. They cooking or they buying. I'm not cooking shit. Listen. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I happen to be a very like lovey-dovey. Like, once I'm in a relationship, like dating Angela is very different than relationship Angela. And maybe that's another video. Another video, right? The difference between dating Angela and relationship Angela. Anyway, I feel like I haven't talked enough in this video, so I am going to let y'all go. Thank you. Ooh, that was good. That accent was bomb. I've been working on my English accent. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next video. What should we talk about? I don't have any ideas for next week. Maybe I'll have something by the time next week rolls around. Anyway, thank y'all. Wait, if you have an uncle, cousin, brother, I'm just kidding. I am very particular. Don't send your people my way, because I'm probably not gonna like them, and I don't want you to unfollow me because I didn't turn down your brother, cousin, uncle, daddy. But thank y'all for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.